Thursday, April 24th, 2025, the time being 7 PM. Meeting is being conducted at the Bourne Veterans Memorial Community Building. It's the Planning Board's meetings, second meeting of the month. Reminding everybody to make sure your cell phone is shut off or on silent. If it goes off, you'll be shot.
Oh, boy.
Well, so.
Getting on it.
Things have changed.
It's totally off me. I'm not even on
First
vibrate.
agenda item would be approval of the minutes from March 27th, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion made and second. Further comments from the board? No? We'll go,
Yeah.
Amanda?
Yes.
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 Abstain?
Yes.
Yes.
Those are approved.
Check. I like to check things off.
Next on the agenda is a request for a lot release, lot number 3 and 3A at 2 Kendall Ray Place.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jeff Toccio. I represent Canal Cove Development LLC. Good to see you all. We're here for 2 Kendall Ray Place, lots 3 and 3A. So it's in essence just over across the street. We're asking for the lot release. Currently, they're starting to get into the building permit phase, and there was a punch list of items that were required to be undertaken through DPW by the prior owner, all of which have been completed. The last of which was Tuesday, which was the stop bar, which was painted at the intersection of Kendall Ray Place and then Perry, so right in front of Town Hall. So that's been completed. I understand that it's been confirmed, and with that, I believe all the obligations that were outstanding have been satisfied. And if there are any comments, we'd take those as well.
Any comments from the board? No? Glad to see you guys are moving forward. That's what I have to say, so that's great. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to release the lot 3 and 3A to Kendall Ray Place.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Second by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Set.
Well
Thanks.
done.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay. The next agenda item is application for modification of the special permit continued from April 10th, 2025, 21 Canal Street, also known as 21 Hunters Brook Road. A reminder to everybody in the audience that the public hearing for that has been closed at the last meeting, so the only discussion will be amongst the board and the applicant. So having said that, Ms. Froman?
I don't believe we heard that it was closed.
It was a
Do you have
motion
it
and made.
documented?
It was a motion and
In the
made
meeting.
last meeting to close the public hearing. It was actually, as I recall, it was made by Corinne Moore.
I just watched the meeting today.
Okay,
Yeah.
it could very well be. There were a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of comments that still needed to happen. And as you can see, I am very sure that many of these people are here to participate in having some feedback.
Liza?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Eliza Cox, an attorney on behalf of the applicant. Fortunately, I'm here by myself this evening. Greg Worson, who was at the hearing when it was opened at the last meeting, had a medical issue, so he's unable to be here tonight. So I'll do my best if the board has any technical questions to try to answer those, but I'm not 100% positive I'll be able to do so, but I certainly will try. I have looked at the draft conditions that were prepared by your staff. We are comfortable with the conditions as revised and as has been distributed to us. I don't have any presentation. The hearing was closed, but I'm here if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer those.
Thank you. Members of the board, any comments?
I do.
Okay, Liz.
And this is just because I watched the meeting today that I wanted to respond to a couple things that were said. One is, I did look at complete streets, and Hunters Brook is 27th on the list of 40. And the problem that you describe. Well, listen harder. The problem that you describe is one that is encountered all over town. Katuitt Street near me, which is on the other side, kids walk back and forth on that street all the time to school. You know, no sidewalks, it's about this wide. It's a town-wide issue that we have. But, you know, and my project isn't even on the list, but I feel like kids getting killed on their way to school could be a priority as well. Second, someone described this project as a boondoggle, which I found really upsetting because, you know, when you listen to the testimony and you hear that the amount of mitigation that you're getting, the replacement of the water pipes, the likely easement for a sidewalk, those are things you wouldn't have had if it hadn't have had the amount of time and review and effort that went into looking at this. That doesn't qualify as a boondoggle to me. That qualifies as, you know, looking carefully, trying to create something that is good. So, you know, that's just my 2 cents.
Mr. Chairman, could I add one more thing? I think
Yep.
great points. The other thing, I just wanted to again remind the board why we're here tonight, and that is for a modification of what's already approved. And I did hear at the last public hearing, I think generally, that people said this is a step in the right direction. This is less impactful than what's previously been approved in terms of land use, in terms of water use, in terms of septic use, in terms of traffic. This requested modification, which is the only thing that's before the board tonight, is less impactful than what's already currently approved.
Okay. Thank you. Doc?
Yeah, my question is specifically about the modification. At our last meeting, Corinne brought up the idea of a sidewalk on Hunters Brook. And I think that's an idea worth going into some depth on. And I have a couple of comments I'd like to make and then hope you'll respond. I hope the board will respond. I think the relationship of the Canal Park to this project is a much undervalued benefit. And I'm hoping that your group will understand the opportunities here and act accordingly. If this project happens, I am sure at some point a sales agent will be talking to a potential buyer, and one of the things they will probably lean on is the beauty of that waterfront park that is 500 feet away. And the buyer, that typical buyer, might say, I don't see a sidewalk. Does that mean when I walk my dog down to the park, I'll be walking within the traveled way? I don't see that as working for me. I think we should expect a big increase in pedestrian traffic, at least during the good weather, on the lower end of Hunters Brook Road. I could very well see the agent saying, well, we have a sidewalk up in front of the medical building onto Canal Road and down. And that apocryphal buyer says, that's not a solution. That's a 20-minute walk, you're adding a quarter mile, and I have to climb 20 or 25 feet to get up to Canal. So a rational resident who is concerned about walking in the traveled way may say, well, I'll drive to the park. And I'm not sure that's captured in your level of service and your total trips that may be divided in half. Some of the drivers will head out towards the medical building and Canal Road if they're going off to work. But from purely a recreational point of view, there's going to be an increase in pedestrian traffic, and there may be an increase in traffic related to pedestrian use of the park. So I'm hoping to have a serious discussion about a sidewalk that extends from the exit drive onto Hunters Brook and down to the park. That's a distance of about 550 feet. And I'm suggesting that we would have it on the south side of the road. The slopes are less steep. You can see there that it's relatively level land with very little obstruction. The last driveway adjacent to this project on that side of the road, I think, is number 30, and that utility pole there, number 30, starts towards us a few feet from that utility pole. So it'd be crossing no driveways, on flat ground, no filling, no cutting, a fairly ordinary sidewalk construction. So just as a self-interest, from a marketing point of view, don't undercook your response to the link to the Canal Park.
I hear what you're saying.
Just a little bit
Sorry,
more.
go ahead.
I don't think there's a huge, and the thing to remember about the residents on this street is right now they're living in a no-build condition. So what was approved last year is a step, but they're not seeing it. They're living in a no-build world, and all of a sudden, it's going to be a modified approval, allegedly, and there may be some surprising impacts. So I saw a lot of the mitigation having to do with traffic signals, lights, lane widenings. Those appear to be mitigation on the district level, dealing mostly with automobiles. I don't understand the one across the canal. That was deleted, but I'm not sure that this project has impacts beyond the canal. However, what is not as addressed is neighborhood level impacts, and they are for real. So I'm suggesting that we make this a condition, subject to a coordination with the town engineer, that the project applicant develop a sidewalk, a concrete sidewalk from the exit on the south side of Hunter Brook Road, extending down to the Canal Park. Drainage, the sidewalk by itself will not impact drainage. It's not a substantial increase in impervious area. There are currently, to the east, it's a reasonably steep hill. At about this point, it goes down to a very flat slope. It's like 1.5, 1.6%. So water doesn't rip down this part of the road, and if you look carefully at the edges, there's no visible erosion. So I don't think drainage, the construction of a sidewalk would involve extensive drainage, and I would defer to the town engineer on that. There are drain inlets at the island at the bottom of the street. I'm just saying from your own self-interest, this is something that should be taken under advisement, and I'd like to make it as a condition.
So I guess I would respond in a couple ways. First, I'd ask the board not to make it a condition, at least tonight. I have no idea what that's going to cost. It sounds like it could be very expensive. I think it would not be fair for the board to condition that on this project until we have an opportunity to understand what that means in terms of cost for the project. I absolutely can't. I hear what you're saying, but I cannot agree to that.
Cost is not the only consideration.
Understood, but it's
Mitigation
obviously...
is a serious consideration.
Obviously, there's a lot of mitigation that's already part of this project.
Sure.
And
Some of
add
it, you've been released of the
one piece.
burden of
Yeah.
some of it, yes.
Yeah, one piece
It
that-
may very well be a wash. I don't think this sidewalk is super expensive.
Yeah, I cannot comment whether I'm an attorney, not an engineer, and obviously haven't surveyed that, haven't looked at the utility poles, haven't looked at drainage, haven't looked at ADA compliance, but from having represented applicants across the Cape on many boards, I know that sidewalks can be very expensive. And so tonight, I'm not able to agree to that condition of a decision, if that's the will of the board.
Perhaps we should continue the meeting.
Corinne?
I talked to the engineer after the last meeting about sidewalks, and he was expressing that he felt that it was expensive, and he felt it had to be granite and concrete. Well, I go to Mashpee quite a lot, and they have a lot of sidewalks on major roads, and they're not concrete, and they're not granite. They are walkways and bikeways combined, and they have it on very busy roads. They have it on Great Neck Road, they have it on Route 130, they have it on Route 151, and it's just paved, and then there's a grassy area. And I think that those would be less expensive than using the granite and concrete. So I think there are different options that could happen. I'm not looking for, Main Street type of sidewalks. We're looking for walkways so people can traverse. So I think there might be some options there. Like you said, the cost right now, we don't know what the
Yeah,
costs are.
I can't agree to that without understanding, the linear length, the drainage, the costs that would be associated with that. I have to discuss that with my client.
One thing I would say, Corinne, on that, on the three examples that you listed in Mashpee, those were all state roads and state projects that constructed those sidewalks.
Yeah, I understand, but I just talking about, comparing cost
Right.
on the types of sidewalks.
Yeah, most of the sidewalks we have in this town right now are just a piece of asphalt on the side. Sometimes it's connected to the road, sometimes it's not. Somebody else had their hand
Sorry.
up over here.
I just wanted to say that in watching the meeting today, I was actually quite surprised that there wasn't more mention of the park there, because that's the whole reason Hunters Brook is so inadequate, or one of the reasons. There wasn't a lot of thought given when they built the canal to how we would all get to it, apparently. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting thought.
Mr. Chairman.
Catherine,
Yes, thank you. I guess I would like to apologize, first of all, to all the folks here, because after the last meeting, I received several calls, not one, but 6 of them. So I went out and I walked the property, not understanding this was closed. And I walked the property and I talked to so many folks. And I thank the folks that came to the meeting. Now, I don't know if all these folks are here for that, but I feel like we have to have some type of compromise. And, and again, I will take responsibility for it. But, because I did listen to people and I did encourage them to come to the meeting. I had no idea it was closed. So if it's not tonight, if it's another way, I certainly would love to, what I'm hearing right now is, you're not able to answer something. I do have several other, concerns that I heard, and I can certainly bring those up. But I do think, in fairness, for my mistake, that at some point we do give residents, because it is such a huge impact on the community. I walked the property, and I walked and I know all of you have as well, and I appreciate the time that's been put into this. But as a resident in that community, I think it's really important that we listen to them, and we hear it. And in addition to outside, and you're right, and maybe we have, I agree, all right? But I guess for me, as a planning board member, I feel like it's my responsibility to, again, bring this forward, because when I walked the property and I really looked at the plans, there were several things I was concerned about, not only on the outside, but on the inside of the project as well. The overflow parking, the number of condominiums, walking, so far to a medical building, to park a second car. I live in a condo community. With groceries, that's impossible to do. The sidewalks within the community, the bridge, that was my number one, was the bridge. Building the bridge, and how long, there was no commitment to that. How long would it take to build the bridge? And I guess maybe that is something that I should ask. How long would it take to build the bridge? And then would Hunters Brook Road be closed? And then once that bridge was built, would that be a way, could we use that for in and out traffic instead of using Hunters Brook?
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it takes to construct the bridge. I can
Right.
find that out. You do have currently a condition in the existing decision relating to, I'm assuming you're talking during construction with this comment?
Right.
So there's already a condition in your decision that requires that once the bridge is constructed, that's used for construction traffic and not the Hunters Brook Road.
Correct.
And
But I
access.
guess my question is, after the construction is done?
Yep.
Will we continue to use that bridge?
Oh.
What is the flow of traffic? It wasn't clear, and I think it's the last meeting, it was sort of, up in the air, or at least for me, I missed it. So,
Yeah, no, so
yeah,
that
is
hasn't
something
changed since, this project was originally approved. That is an access on Canal Street.
So will
It's
it
a
be that
right-
way after the?
Yes.
After the project is completed?
Public access.
Okay.
Yes, that's the primary access into the site. And that's the only access into the medical building is off of Canal Street. You cannot do that via the Hunters Road site.
Correct. And I think the concern was, and again, I don't live there, but this was what I was thinking, is that when you look at the condos and you look at the exit to Hunter Brook Road, if I lived there, I'd go out Hunter Brook Road. So unless that's blocked off, right, everyone's going to use that, because to go around the other way, there's not, there aren't any sidewalks, there isn't a flow of traffic as I looked at it. But again,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I would say the traffic has been fully studied through the Cape Cod Commission process and through this process. And as a result of this modification, there's going to be less traffic than what's already approved for the site. So in terms of traffic impacts, the modification that's before you is going to have less traffic than what's already approved for the site. The pattern itself isn't changing, with one exception, and that is we are providing from the condominiums an outlet out to the bridge off Canal Street. So there is a one-way, if you're in the condominiums and you wanted to leave to go, to the highway, you can now go through Canal Street and over the bridge and then out that way. That was not part of the original project. That's one change since this modification.
Thank you. So anyways, Mr. Chairman, board members, I apologize for the misunderstanding. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any further comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Doucette?
Yeah, the last meeting, when they were talking about the sidewalk, and then they were talking about granting an easement for the sidewalk construction along their property line. And one of the concerns was, in the discussion, was that the town would need to have easements along the road for the other property owners to get that sidewalk connected down to Canal Street. So even if we cross the road, we're still gonna need easements to build the sidewalk on Hunter's Road.
Right.
Can you clarify? I believe the road is not centered in the right-of-way. So if you're on the south side, I believe the sidewalk alignment is within the right-of-way line. So I'm not,
Not completely, but for a good majority of it.
Excuse me, are your mics on?
Yes.
The mics are for
These
recording.
mics are for cable TV, they're not for amplification. So,
Sorry.
All these people here, and you know they're here, it would be kind of polite, a little bit considerate to speak up.
okay.
Mr. Chair,
Anybody else from the,
just one more point, in regard to, I would defer to the judgment of the town engineer, but I think the south side of the road is much cheaper to build on than the north side. There's no retaining walls on the south side, there's no filling or major cutting at all on the south side. The north side, it's a big deal, and much more expensive.
Mr. Doucette?
So if they were looking, and I'm just throwing it out, is possible construction of a sidewalk. You're looking at a Cape Cod berm, maybe a little grass strip, and then a bituminous.
I'll defer to the
Sidewalk?
town engineer.
Okay.
A quality job would be at least a concrete curb and a concrete pavement. I'll defer to the town engineer.
Or Cape Cod berm and a concrete sidewalk, just,
There's
Sure.
many options.
Yeah. but, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mealy, you've been screaming at your seat
No, I
there.
haven't, sir, but
You want to step up to the lectern? Thank you.
I'm representing the North Sagamore Water District. I'm a water commissioner for the district. I have a question relative to the order of conditions for water availability, which has been submitted by the district and what this board is working with. And those orders of conditions should be dated June 20th, 2019, and it should contain 9 orders of conditions, including the entire replacement of all of the existing 8-inch asbestos-lined mains with 12-inch PVC.
Yeah, that's happening.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and all of the other conditions within that order of conditions for availability from June 20th, 2019 are intact?
Didn't we?
I have a copy if you'd like it for your records.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think we got the letter from the district saying that there was adequate supply, because that's a standard.
Supply is there, and it's there until June 19th, 2025.
Okay.
That was the order of the conditions. We were going to hold the availability for 6 years, and that date is this coming June 19th.
So you're suggesting that they need to,
We have not seen the developer since February of 2024, and there were no plans left to us to any modification other than the original Canal Street crossing with a medical facility and center for the mixed use.
okay,
So we have nothing none of this has been presented to the district at all.
Okay.
And if the order of conditions with which this board is working with is the original as signed on June 20th, 2019, having 9 conditions, we're fine
Okay.
until the 20th of June.
Okay. Liza, have you got that? The applicant's going to have to reach out to the water district? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Again, that's, a public hearing is closed. So there can be no more comments from the public.
Understood that at the end of that last meeting.
Well, the meeting was, the meeting was closed at the last meeting.
Thought we just closed the meeting that night.
and-
Close the meeting, yeah, not close the situation. that
No,
everybody-
Public hearing.
The public hearing part of the process was closed at the end of the last meeting. So we're only here for deliberation on what is already in front of us.
So we don't count.
Excuse me, may I speak? May I speak?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Judy Froman, Sagamore Beach. I am familiar with, the protocol in a public meeting. I think I don't doubt that you said, close the meeting. It is not what people heard. We heard that it would be continued in 2 weeks. And so there has been a lot of thoughtful deliberation of a number of people in the neighborhood, and we would like to share our thoughts. And by shutting us down, it causes, Catherine, thank you very much for the apology. Thank you for your time, and whoever else may have come out to see the site. But we have deliberated as a neighborhood, thinking that I know it was closed, but we deliberated very thoughtfully, and we have some thoughts about sidewalk, and we have some thoughts about some of the other things. And I am ashamed to be in a town where it was so quietly brought up and brought forward about this project. And there are changes in this project that we have very serious concerns about. So access of 32 units onto Huntersbrook Road is our major concern.
Okay. Anybody else from the board?
I have a question that borders on a point of order.
Okay. Mr. Clegg.
Elmer Clegg from Pocasset. The date of your last meeting was 2 weeks ago tonight, is that correct?
Yes.
Thereabouts.
And tonight you voted to accept the minutes from the meeting prior to that, 3/27?
Correct.
So are there minutes available of the meeting 2 weeks ago that would indicate in writing that the public hearing was closed?
Well, we haven't approved them yet, so I guess they're not ready. But
I would submit to you that if they are not ready and can't be shown to this audience, that the public hearing part of the meeting was officially closed, that these people should be given a chance to speak.
It's quite clear,
thank you.
quite clear.
Mr. Doucette.
Mr. Chairman, we've had in the past problems getting minutes completed in a timely manner, but our business was done on a regular basis.
Correct. Correct. Okay,
The meeting is recorded, and it is clearly there that this happened.
right. Corinne made the motion
Saying.
that we close the public hearing, but then we continued it on to tonight for, well, I'm sorry you didn't hear it, but it was done and it was all legal.
I should have explained it. We're closing the meeting so that there'll be no further town us talking. Like, that's not how, that's not
Okay.
what we heard. We heard that you guys were gonna review some of the stuff that we all talked about the last time, and that you were gonna have
Okay.
we were gonna have some and that's why you said there was gonna be another meeting. So now we're like, oh, great, because they heard us, and now all of a sudden you're saying, yeah, we heard you. Who cares?
Okay. Anybody else from the board? Anybody from the board have a motion? John?
I got just a question to council.
Yep.
With the question on the sidewalk, would you like us to continue this to find the information?
Yeah, I mean, if the inclination of the board is to impose that condition, then yes, I think I need more time to talk about it. I can't agree to that condition without understanding the implications and having a chance to talk with my clients about it. So,
And for the board's edification, if we change any of the existing conditions, it will require the applicant to return to the Cape Cod Commission with modifications to the plan, and then come back to us again. So that's just something to bear in mind.
Okay.
John?
Seeing that we've had quite a bit of deliberation, and I know that the residents have been concerned about gaining some additional infrastructure on Hunters Brook. I've been through Hunters Brook a number of times, and I think the roadway is certainly sufficient. It is...
Okay, folks. Have some order, please. Thank you. Go ahead, John.
There's an awful lot of water that runs on the road from your properties. That's, I think, what the majority of the water coming down to the roadway is. And it doesn't appear that any of it is being contained on your own properties. I'm just saying what I see. And during the last meeting, we talked about the proponent granting an easement for a sidewalk. The road is a town road. It's not private. It's town road, and the town is responsible for helping you with drainage or access or any of those sort of things. This applicant was approved for a bigger, more impactful project, and they're looking to modify it to be a less impactful project. And I would entertain making a motion to approve it, subject to an easement as needed for a sidewalk. Which I don't think you need, because I think the other side of the road might be more Object to the motion. efficient.
I think we need more time. I'm not inclined to push this ahead for the convenience of the applicant. I think we need more of a discussion. What was the town's responsibility? What is the applicant willing to do? It's a negotiation, and the thing to remember is you need 6 votes. Are you confident you have 6 votes? I think we need more time.
I agree with you. I think we need more time, too. I mean, what I just heard from Steve as well, I mean, that was a concern as well for me. So I do think that we need more time. That would be mine.
Corinne?
I don't want to open Pandora's box.
Oh, come on.
If there are concerns that we haven't heard, because we've heard a lot of concerns, this has been before the Cape Cod Commission, it's been before the town a few times, this is a modification. If there are new concerns, I'd love to hear the new concerns. I don't know how we pick those out, but if we've already heard them, I think, just repeating them, I think we understand, because we don't maybe agree to the concerns or can condition those concerns, but if there's something new that we haven't heard, I made the motion to close the hearing because I felt that we heard everything. So I'm just going to leave that out to the board, but I just wanted to state that if there's a new concern, we know that the condos going into Hunter Brook is a newer concern. They were going to use that access, again. We understand that. What is the mitigation? It went through the Cape Cod Commission. I don't know if anybody attended any of those hearings, but they had to mitigate that traffic. That traffic is coming out of there. It was looked at by the traffic engineers, and they felt that the mitigation that was approved through this project was sufficient. I'm not a traffic engineer, so I can't say whether it is, but that's why we have the Cape Cod Commission. They make those recommendations to us. We, as a planning board, we can condition more stringent, but not less stringent. And I think that's why we're looking at the sidewalks. that, you know, doesn't make it safer for those residents. And I think it does bear more discussion. I'd like to see, you know, some options with the different types of sidewalks and the cost that goes along. They, you know, the applicant can look at the cost and what would be agreeable through the town engineer, through the DPW, what they would think would be agreeable. So I think at the minimum, looking at the sidewalks and make it more pedestrian friendly is my concern.
John?
Can I just ask a
John?
question regarding what
John?
Bryn just said?
There's no comment, Scott. There's no comment. Go ahead, John.
I'm not making a comment, I ask a question.
There's no questions being asked.
Can't even ask a
No,
question.
no.
Nope.
John?
So we have an objection to motion, is that
Yes.
where you stand? Don't know where to go
Yeah.
from there.
Do I hear a motion from somebody?
To continue?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue this to May 8th to get the questions that this board,
There's no meeting.
We don't have a meeting made.
I'm sorry. It'd be May 22nd. I make a motion, we continue this to May 22nd to get the facts found out and brought back to the
So
board.
that would be what Mr. Mealy brought up, the water commissioner. They're extending their permit from beyond June. The easement issue, make sure that that's recorded and we have that for.
Yeah, it would be the
potential
easement on their property and also to look into the sidewalks that Doc was talking
Right.
about.
And as Liz said, complete streets through the town of Bourne, it's what, 27th on the list out of 40? Mm-hmm. So it's pretty low on the list.
And perhaps the applicant makes good faith price proposals for installing the sidewalks, so we have an understanding of the competitive market.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I ask that we at least accept a written list of, from all the folks here, maybe, you know, combine a list of concerns in an email that we can all review, you know, detailed, keep it simple, whatever, you know, however, but just, I think we need to include that as well
Okay.
as, you know, one of the variables during our
I
discussion.
don't know if we can do that. We can check with town council, but I think where we. The town. So,
No, at
Mr.
home.
Bertram,
You guys work for us.
you want to be quiet, please? Thank you. Or you can be asked to leave.
I feel like I caused this, and I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Bertram.
So,
Are you with us? Nope. No, he's trying to focus in.
There you go.
There he is. Hi there, Brian. So the question is, we closed the public hearing on this particular issue last week. We're thinking about continuing this to May 22nd to get some more information from the applicant as far as potential sidewalk and also to make sure that they've extended their water permit through the North Sagamore Water District. The question is, can we open up the public hearing again at the next meeting where we've already closed it? Or is? Okay, thank you. That's what we needed to know. Okay. So-
Mr. Chairman, would we limit the types of things that are addressed or not? Or is it a wide
If
ranging
we open the
discussion of all the things
if we
we've heard
open
a
the
lot?
public hearing, we open the public hearing and we go through everything again, so, okay. So on, you have a motion from somebody to
I
continue this? From
already made a
Dan.
motion to continue.
Motion to continue
I'll
to the
second.
second meeting in May.
May
second
22nd.
that.
Yeah, second
And
meeting.
seconded by Jim.
Or is that, can you clarify what the motion to continue what, please?
The motion is to continue our discussion.
No motion for open hearing?
That can be made at that meeting.
Can't be made at this one?
No. Okay. On that motion that's been made and seconded, Amanda?
Yes.
John, yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, this is continued to May 22nd. It will be a public hearing on it at that time, and we're going to look into getting some questions answered, which is a cost estimate on sidewalks, an easement for the sidewalks, and to ensure that they have an updated permit from the Bourne Water District. So this is continued to May 22nd. See you all then.
Thank you,
But I
Mr.
suggest
Chairman.
you might need a bigger room on that night, because there may be a whole lot more people here than there are, many there are tonight. You might want a different
Will
forum.
they have new things to
Thank you for your
say?
suggestion.
Pardon me?
Will they
Okay.
have new things to discuss?
We'll be working on it.
Okay, well, that would be helpful.
Bigger room.
What was the third thing?
They will be for this.
We'll be at slight
Horses
recess
like
while they
rotting
clear out.
corpse now, Jim.
I think he said Castleton or something like that.
You know, I really don't mean to be dismissive, but this group really annoys me.
Dear young lady, I support you
Have to re-advertise
wholeheartedly.
this.
I'm very proud to be associated.
I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. Oh, I know it.
No, they came because they didn't listen, they didn't understand.
You know, they say what they're going to say, then it's like, okay, we'll do that. You just keep saying it as long as they agree.
How are you?
They say it.
If anybody else is leaving the room, can you leave so that we can conduct the rest of our business? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to normal life.
It doesn't matter how many people come here and say the same thing over and over. How many times?
I know. I need Yeah.
Absolutely. And very, very easy to hear. It happens, it's unusually good because I've done this before. The audio is spectacular. Yeah, it's unusually good. Maybe. Yeah, but it was very, I really needed to watch it, so I was very hopeful.
Yeah, he's gonna read
Yeah, I mean, it's
people take it outside. Want me to close the door?
I just want to make sure that we had it in hand.
We do have it.
Thank you.
I understand all these things. We understand them all. Them all.
Okay, we're going to continue on. Next agenda item is an application for a preliminary subdivision plan, continued from March 27th, 586 Shore Road, an 8-lot subdivision, Lot 1A, 1B, and 2D.
Yes, yeah, I would think so.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Peter Zock. I'm the attorney representing the applicant. Also here this evening is Giorgio Petruzziello. We were last here on, it was March 27th. Due to personal reasons, Mr. Petruzziello couldn't be here at that time. I learned a long time ago I don't say much about my development clients because it sometimes can come by to haunt you. And many of you are not familiar with Mr. Petruzziello. I make the exception for him. I have found, representing the Petruzziello family for the last, age myself, 30-plus years, that they produce what they say they're going to produce. And I'll just leave it at that. You can check. Most of his developments are in the Dedham area, Dedham, Westwood, Canton, Needham. And if you check with any of your counterparts, I think you'll hear the same thing from them. Also here tonight is Mark Carter with GCG, who is going to do most of the talking, who is the project engineer. So just again, to refresh everybody's memory, this is an approximate 11-acre site at 586 Shore Road, which is sort of cut in half between the street and the water by the railroad tracks. I think we have about 6 acres of land from the road to the tracks, and then another approximately 5 acres from the tracks to the water. We have asked for continuance actually ourselves last time, so we can go back, take a look at a number of scenarios that we had already looked at. I think the issue that we had here was the land from the tracks to the water. What we're trying to accomplish is something that we hope is the best scenario for everybody involved, and by that I mean not only my client, but the abutters that are on Briarwood Lane. As you know, the bridge reconstruction project has left a bridge that those residents used to get out in a situation where it can now not support heavy, I'll use the word heavy vehicles, be it public safety, be it mail trucks, be it delivery trucks. And since that time, my client has allowed travel across his property. So as I say, we looked at all the scenarios, and at the end of the day, we keep coming back to 3 lots on the lower level, meaning between the tracks and the water, which would allow for the opening or connection of Briarwood to our new subdivision road, which would allow free flow of traffic to continue in a more formal fashion well into the future. As you'll hear in a second, that scenario, however, does require relief from your upland requirement. I believe the lots that you'll see, that Mike will discuss in a second, otherwise meet all of your zoning regulations. We also have an issue we have to address to the Board of Health. So even assuming, and I understand the preliminary subdivision plan is not an approval of the subdivision, but with that approval, we hope we would then take the next steps, which is continue to address our issues that we may have with the Board of Health, as well as to proceed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the appropriate relief. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, who probably did too many plans since the last meeting, but he'll run through them as quickly as he can. Thank you.
Mike Carter from GCG Associates, for the record. Basically,
You need the mic.
Does anybody want me to go through this again? I think
You can
were
pick
all-
it up and walk around
Okay,
if that's...
perfect.
There you go.
There you go. Do I need to go through the project again? Was everybody here last? I don't think
I
the
was
chair-
not here. I was not here. So.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go through that. Basically, it's 586 Shore Road. Shore Road is on the top of this plan, bays down here, railroad tracks bisects the site. The 2 red lots, this one right here, and then this one right here, are the parcels, totaling about 11 acres. There's an existing house right here located on this parcel. Then there's an existing house located right here. This is a 4-bedroom home. And then there's an actually, I called this originally, if you guys remember, I called it a conference center. I've changed the plans to reflect that. And that this is a house. And then this is actually a 4-bedroom home here too. It was an old school, at one point owned by different people. Giorgio's family has bought it, and it's a place that they stay at. And basically what we're looking at doing on this parcel is to do a 5-lot subdivision with a road that would run down the center. And then we're looking at doing 3 lots on this side. The subdivision on this side basically is 1-acre lots, septic system. 2 of the lots would have A&R frontage. That would be on the plans that we submitted to you last time. It's sheet number 1. Did everybody get a copy of the 3 sheets that I submitted?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have larger copies if you'd like. Just as a refresher, 5 lots here, a road that went down through here and then would cross the tracks. These 2 lots would have frontage off of the new road. This lot would have frontage actually on both the new road and the Shore Road, but it gets its frontage off of this road right here. Then we proposed last time was to connect this road right here, would connect to the end of Briarwood, which, for reference, the end is Briarwood is right here, the last house is here. Briarwood comes across the tracks right here, across the newer bridge, which has a rating which is slightly under an F-250 truck. Anything larger than that shouldn't be going across it weight-wise. And then this road, Briar Road, goes down here, is a dead end. Georgia, this property has access by a 35-foot opening here for the private way. Right now, as indicated by Mr. Zaka, the landscape trucks, the delivery trucks, trash trucks, they can't go across this bridge, so they actually come down the existing road, go in front of this house, and he's been allowing that for a while. I can't speak to how long. So what we're proposing to do, ideally, is to develop this land, create 3 lots over here, and then the benefit to the Briarwood people is to create a connection. Benefit to the Briarwood people, to the town, for emergency access to the Briarwood residents. And we kind of went over that last meeting, and we had a pretty long conversation about the bottom half of this plan. So we asked you to just let us come back and kind of give you a few more scenarios before we made the final decision on what to do there. Again, the intent is to, the desire by the applicant is to connect this, but it would require some relief. I revised this plan, this part of the plan, so that this lot here, what is known as Lot 8, complies with area and upland area. Last time, if you remember, it was quite a bit under upland area. So if you look at the shape, it's kind of a funky looking shape, but I want to demonstrate to you that that lot is a viable lot under this scenario. Also at that time, this lot number 6, which was we spent quite a bit of time talking about. It meets the area requirement, but it doesn't meet the upland requirement. And at that time, we were saying that we wanted to keep this house right here. But when we started looking at it, I did a profile of the road, and I want to just show you this. I know this isn't part of my skin, but I just did a quick profile of the road. If we built this, to kind of give you an indication why we're showing that we want to demolish the house now if we do this, because, I'm sorry, let me get back to the mic. In order to build this connector, you would have to, it's pretty steep. If you look on the existing profile, which I think just stays here, when you come down and you go across here and then down this way, the grade is about 25%. It's really steep. And trucks bottom out, vehicles bottom out there. So to comply with your subdivision regulations, we have to grade it. Fill in front of that house. And what that would do is would require us to remove the house. So you're looking at a plan, basically would be the profile of the road that goes to Briarwood. You can see on the plan it shows 14% here, then there's a flat area, then there's 25%. And in order to comply with your minimum of 5%, we would have to fill in front of the house up to 3 to 4 feet, which would mean that we'd have to demolish that house. So the plan that you have before you tonight shows that house being demolished, whereas last time we were going to try, we thought we could save it, but we went further down the definitive subdivision process, closer to the definitive subdivision process to evaluate it. So this plan shows 3 lots up there with this house being demolished to allow this road to be constructed. And then the only thing that we would need relief from with respect to zoning would be the upland area. In addition, if you see this gray area down here, we've been through the Conservation Commission since we were here before you last time, and they have approved this line. So this line is a fixed line. It's accepted for, I believe it's 3 years is what the length of time on it is. So that's what we changed on this plan. We no longer need an upland. We meet the upland here, but we don't meet the upland here. We would need some sort of relief, but what we're looking at, we have to take this house down to make this work to connect Briarwood. So that's what that plan is. Then we looked at a second plan. It's number 2 in your group of plans. And this is what it's called an 81L plan. Basically, this lot is a non-conforming lot, has no frontage anywhere. So under Mass State Law, under Chapter 41, 81L, we can just cut the lot in half and to subdivide this into 2 parcels with no frontage for the structure of each parcel. This is more of a demonstration. And these lots would meet the area and the upland requirement. So there's no question that we can get 2 lots just without even, it's basically a plan that we bring before you and would fall under 81L. And the intent of that is just to demonstrate that we, today, without even doing any subdivision, we can do an 81L, based upon my understanding. Then the third plan was
Maybe. I thought this was the original, 'cause this one is this.
So on this plan, what I'm trying to show you is that I believe that we could get 3 houses on here. We create, it's a microphone. All right. I believe we could get 3 houses on here. And
It's okay.
3 houses, 2 existing and 1 new house is what the intent of this plan is to show. Basically, we create a T turnaround, which has the radiuses for a fire truck to come in, do a T turnaround, return, and go back out. It's 60 feet in either direction, it's 20 feet wide, has a minimum of 30-foot radius on the inside, and a minimum, it's more than a 43-foot on the outside. So we would allow emergency vehicles to come in and turn around. And we would create frontage for this lot over here, which would be its own building lot. We'd put a house in over here. And then we would create what I call a back lot, which allows you to go down to 35 feet of frontage. And I've talked to your planner here about this, and would have the 2 existing houses on it. And I believe a back lot goes a special permit through your board. So the intent here was to say, well, under this plan, we still would get 3 houses. Basically, the intent here is for the applicant to try to get 3 houses onto this side of the thing. And the real ultimate goal is to provide a connection. And
Understood.
purpose is to demonstrate, okay, under this scenario, we get 3 lots. Under the other scenario, we get two by rights, we're 2 lots. And we're tearing down a building, 4-bedroom house, and putting up a new 4-bedroom house, basically, would go on the lot that would require some relief. So that's my summary.
Okay, I know the board's had issues before with backlot subdivisions, so
Yeah.
we'll have to go through
Okay.
that carefully. Amanda?
This plan that you're showing us right here, is this going, that three-way, that turn thing that you just,
The hammerhead?
Hammerhead.
is that going to help firewood at all?
No, so the scenarios we came back to you with today were the process we went through to get to what we would like to do, and if I remember correctly, you guys were ready to vote, and we said, can you we want to explain to you what we've been doing for quite a while now to try to figure out the best solution, and you asked us to try to demonstrate a few things, and that's what I'm trying to do tonight.
Can you tell us anything about the house that would be torn down? I don't know much about that particular.
So I'd like just a couple things. So I apologize.
Introduce yourself to.
Yeah, my name is Giorgio Petruzziello. We bought this property about 10 years ago, and we absolutely love it there. So what we're looking to do really is not, the top section of the railroad will be developed, sold off. The bottom section will be immediate family, me and my 2 sisters, one on each side, hopefully. So when we first bought it, I think in this picture here, let me just pull up a little bit of background on the property itself. So this is the main house here. So if you look at this section here, if everybody remembers, this was the old Dexter School Retreat, and there's all camps up in here. This is where the old, it's a gathering place. There's a big barn here. There's another single family up here. And down in here was really, if you go down there actually even today, you'll see it's all cleared. There was a big shed, almost barn look, and it was all boat storage here. We went down there and cleaned everything up. So when you do go down there, you can see it's all nice and clean. The question, so at the end of the day, the 3 lots, the 3 on the water, which is the main house, and the one on the left, and the one on the right, will be kept in the family for many, many years. The second question was, you had a question on the house.
I'm just curious about that house. I've seen it, but I don't know much about
So
it.
this house here, it's a 4-bedroom, I think it's 3 full baths. Yes, it's 3 full baths with an adjacent garage right next to it.
And how old is it?
I would say, I know it's newer than the house. I don't have the exact date.
Okay.
It's been there as long as I can remember.
Yeah,
So it's been there a long time, at least the 80s.
Excuse me?
I'm going to say at least the 80s.
Oh, it was
And it
probably
was-
before that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was before that, but that's when I was working in the area, so I know it's been in that. Okay. Anybody else from the board?
I just had a question. I get what you did on Lot 8. Now, the one closest to Briarwood, because of the upslope, wasn't there a problem with the septic system being over there?
Yes.
So that's the.
I think that's Lot 6.
Yeah, so if you remember last time I talked about the septics, basically the septics have to be 150 feet from
Coastal bank.
the bank. So that's this line here, and it goes all the way up into here. The existing septics right now, for this house right here, is located right at the top of the bank. It's a cesspool, okay? And then the existing system for the house is located it's located in this roadway. So that's something that we went to the Board of Health, and we've submitted our plan. Well, actually, you have to give them plans and they have to comment. That's why we went to the Board of Health. And at the hearing with them in last year. Talking to the microphone, please. Thanks. So at the last meeting, what we talked about is that we would like to, creating easements from here and pumping over to here as where a septic field would go. Because this is the only area, right up in this area right here, where it's 150 feet from the
Coastal bank.
coastal bank, correct. Another one that we've discussed is we could create, we have enough land over here, lot-wise, area-wise, that we could create parcels, and then we could actually jack under the track if that was the case. That's not the desired route, but so, that's an option that we could consider.
Yeah, that option would require pumps to pump it uphill.
Yeah,
so.
I'm very familiar with all of this.
Yep, okay.
Anybody
Anybody else?
You get a letter?
Hmm?
You get an email?
Yeah. Okay, we have a letter from Chief Polonzi of the Fire Department, dated today.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read it?
Yes,
into the
if you
record?
would.
He says, "I am writing to express serious concern regarding the proposed subdivision of 586 Shore Road, specifically the potential closure of the existing emergency access route to Briarwood Lane through that property. As proposed, the development would eliminate a long-standing access point that our department has utilized for the past 26 years to reach Briarwood Lane. If this access is removed, all fire and EMS apparatus would be forced to rely on the wooden bridge at the primary entrance to Briarwood Lane from Shore Road. This bridge is not rated to support the weight of our fire trucks or ambulances, posing a significant risk to emergency response capability in this area. The safety of the residents of Briarwood is of the utmost importance. Maintaining reliable access for emergency services is essential. The loss of this second route would severely impede our ability to provide timely assistance in critical situations. I strongly urge the planning board to take this into account when evaluating the proposed subdivision. Preserving emergency access through the 586 Shore Road property is vital to ensuring the health and safety of the community."
And it's signed by David Polonzi, Fire
Yep.
Chief, Town of Bourne. Thank you.
Can I just, for clarification, so what he's referring to is if they just do the hammerhead, he's not happy with that?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
But you had indicated earlier that you were going to allow access by the people from Briarwood through that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be our preferred plan, the plan that we submitted originally.
You would grant access to the emergency vehicles and to the residents over there?
Under this scenario right here that you're looking at, yes.
Okay.
That's the whole-
Under the backlot subdivision?
We were using,
No.
those are plans we brought back just to demonstrate, these are options that we considered. It's not what we would desire to do, but the big, important thing is that we're gonna need relief for this one lot upland area.
Okay. And how would we ensure that those property owners, I would imagine have to be some modification to their deeds to allow them to pass over this private way?
Yeah, there's a number of ways we can do that. One is we can actually give the town and the inhabitants of the town rights to utilize the new road that we're putting in that would connect. So there is, and we would work with your town council, whatever instrument he felt was appropriate. Or we could, what is it, 6, 7, how many houses are there down there? We could, in theory, just grant everybody the right to use it as well. So there's a number of options, and we have, you know, that would be, we assume would be some kind of condition of any approval eventually if this is, so we're not asking you to take our word. We'll work with your town council. You can put it in as a condition, but it's fully our intent. I mean, I said, the exercise that he went through, which he didn't enjoy, we said, do every scenario you could do the 81 Ls, do, you know, this, just to show the various options. And again, we come back to, we agree with what the chief has said, is that, in fact, we're looking to formalize that connection, because a lot of that is gravel. So now it'll be a full paved road that they would have to access Briarwood.
I would suggest you get those suggestions or proposals into town council or to the town planner, and she'll make sure town council gets a look at it, and then he can maybe suggest what he believes is the best interest of the town of Bourne to make that arrangement. So, Mr. Doucette?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, my 30-plus years in the fire service, we've always been able to make the loop from Shore Road across the tracks over the bridge.
Right.
Always have, historically. Now, since the deterioration of the bridge and then the installation of the new one, they went from a bridge that was capable of handling the GVW of the current fire fleet, and now the new bridge doesn't carry that load. But in my 30-plus years, we've always been able to access it off of Shore Road and over the railroad tracks, not over the bridge, but over the railroad tracks through the Briarwood, used to be the Briarwood Conference Center.
Right.
And come on down through there. So I don't know historically if we've always had that access prior to his ownership, whether or not that somehow grants rights historically. But also the question would be that if we were to approve the proposed, the plan you have up here, the drive-through, we can't guarantee that the ZBA would grant you relief. So it's a catch-22. So I don't know, one, and I don't, if town council would like to speak on the historical use of that loop, that's what I'd like to find out, if we could use that in continuance. But again, we can't guarantee the upland relief, so we're caught in the middle.
Mr. Bertram, do you have any comments on that regard?
Well, I don't really have knowledge about the historical use. I do agree with council that, you know, to the extent that we decide we want to go forward with this, I think it would be a fairly straightforward exercise to figure out some way to formalize access rights. They may not have been formal in the past, but when someone's home is on fire, they typically don't complain about the formality of the access when the fire trucks need to get there. So I don't really have significant concerns given other things that we want to do that we couldn't get there. I do think the observation that, you know, the planning board has its set jurisdiction and that, you know, we can't guarantee what the ZBA or the Board of Health or CONSCOM would do is an important one. You know, I think that this process is very useful in fleshing out the options, and I think they, you know, it's great that they've done that. It's also useful in just sort of being very transparent with the applicant about what we can do in the planning board and what we can't, and what the concerns are that may need to be addressed, not just here, but with other jurisdictional authorities going forward.
Mr. Chairman, one more comment.
Okay, Mr. Doucette?
Yes, the hammerhead would eliminate the loop road. That's, and I don't want to see that. That's my personal. So that would eliminate it and not continue it, and there's no other agreement you can have other than the town, state, reconstructing that bridge to carry the load of the public service. That's, so I personally like the proposed loop-through. That's the plan up here, the initial proposed plan.
Without the hammerhead, correct. Corinne?
Yeah, just a couple clarifications. There's 3 options, but you're saying option 1 is your preferred option? Because I don't want to go through the whole exercising of looking at all the options and then you're back over to this option. So I just want to concentrate on the one that you really want. is option one.
One.
Okay, so that's option one, and I think, that does show a preferred option, but there's still some issues, especially with lot 6. One of the things that the planning board does, and their authority, is to create lots. We have a zoning bylaw, we have a subdivision regs, and in that says what are the minimum requirements to create a lot. I would think that we as a planning board should not be creating lots that requires relief. That's just my view, is that if you can't meet those requirements of what is set up, I don't think we should be approving those lots. This lot 6, lot 1, or whatever it is, it still can't contain a septic system, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so no matter what option, you'd have to do an easement on somebody else's land for the septic system for that particular lot.
Under the hammerhead, for the back lot, basically.
Take the mic.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this back. Excuse me. So under this scenario right here, with the hammerhead here, where the two existing houses remain on the lot, the existing septic field is here and here. So those two, these are okay. They already have existing systems. They don't comply with today's standards, but they've been there for whatever the length of time is. This lot over here, see if you look on it, this is sheet number 3 of 3. Over here, I've identified an area that's a septic area. That's outside of the 150-foot area, so this new house would comply. These two houses already have existing ones that pre-exist. Probably, I'm gonna guess they pre-exist.
But that's under the back lot scenario.
That's under the back, but it's not what we want to do. But this is, agree with the fire chief, agree with everybody, this is not the ideal thing, but I'm just trying to demonstrate, under this scenario, I have 2 existing houses and 2 septic systems, and then here's my area for this new house, new lot, that I can put the septic system on.
But option 2 is the only one that you really have by right, because it's the 81L exemption, correct? The other one, because the back lot requires a special permit, and the subdivision, of course, we know that requires a subdivision approval after the preliminary. So the only one that really is by right is option 2.
Option 2.
Which is,
Chairman?
Mr. Doucette?
Needing the relief and not knowing whether the ZBA would grant relief, and creating a lot that doesn't meet the bylaw. A lot of times, we've had the applicant go before the ZBA, get the relief, and then come back here. So then that way, it would meet it.
Right.
So there's a couple of ways to do it. You can risk it coming through here and then maybe getting the ZBA approval, or getting the ZBA approval to make it available, then it come back to us. So I just throw it.
That's probably a pretty good suggestion, Mr. Doucette.
I have a question too.
Yeah, so certainly understand that. We're trying to start the ball rolling here.
Yep.
And, we asked you not to approve it last time because we think this is the best solution. And we know, we're well aware of what our issues are. And it's the way you were going to condition it last time was like, no, we should perform. And we just wanted to talk to you about it. And one of the biggest thing, under this scenario, we take the septic systems that are on the bank, actually in the bank, it's a cesspool basically, and we take them and we move them into the 150-foot. So environmentally, it's a positive. In many ways, it's a more positive thing. Access, environmentally, we're well aware of our issues. That's why we went and got the resource area delineated, because that's probably that's one of the bigger issues that we thought we would have, because there's a second bank, because of the disturbance. How we proceed, I think, is something that.
But again, the plan number 1, the design number 1, is my preferable. But again, and that we can't grant that relief. So I
it's
just.
not guaranteed
You're right.
with us, yeah.
So if we were to start with the preliminary approval and you go parallel, and you get the subdivision approval, and then they don't grant you relief, now you gotta come all the way back again, because now unless you grant the road and you just keep making an unbuildable lot, so.
Yeah, we understand that, and you're right, what comes first, you know, typically, I've always gone for preliminary plans first, just to get
Right.
the feel of the planning board, knowing that I may need relief from another board. So we clearly understand that the planning board cannot, it would be great if you could, but the planning board cannot grant us relief, from the zoning. So we would, I think what we were hoping to get out of this is I hate to use the word approval, but an approval of the preliminary, subject to, which is beyond your jurisdiction, whatever other relief we need, if it's the Board of Health, or if it's a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which we probably need twice. I mean, of course, our argument to them is that we believe we're making, if nothing else, and I keep talking, once I hear the word cesspool, and, I don't care where you are with the cesspool, anything getting rid of a cesspool to me has always been considered an improvement from an environmental perspective. So there are a lot of positives that we hope we can let the other boards know that would make, in addition to keeping that road open and formalizing it and making it a paved road so that, everybody can use it in both directions. So we understand that we weren't getting an approval of variances or anything having to do with the septic systems, and that we're going to take the next step. But it made sense to, in fact, I felt bad for Mike, and I just want to make it clear in case anybody's watching this. We gave all these scenarios because we had asked to do, we asked to let us do that, just to show you our thought process to get to where we were going. I don't want to say we were threatening any of these, other scenarios, but clearly when we went through that exercise at the end of the day, at least our conclusion, and clearly it helped us, but he's ripping down a 4-bedroom house to do it.
Right.
But it helped us in terms of what he wants to do with his family. And it's a beautiful area down there. I was hoping it was his family and the attorney, but apparently that's not how it's happening, so.
Not what he said. So again, I want to support the public safety and Chief Kalanzi. I support Design 1 and whatever other hurdles you have to come across.
Anybody else from the board?
I think we have to follow.
Design one, sorry.
I agree.
Okay.
Can we just clarify, design one is the first option here? Or the original?
Option 1.
Option one, sheet one of the package that you got.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the.
So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the preliminary subdivision plan, option 1, plan 1, with the drive-through loop
That's important.
for the 586 Shore Road, the 8-lot subdivisions, lots 1A, 1B, and 2D.
Second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion from the board? Amanda?
I guess I'm not familiar with septic systems, but, sorry, but is there any complications that can arise when you have a connection that's so far away from a house? Like, is it going to function fine?
Yeah, so-
for years?
I've been doing it for quite a while, by my age. And yes, it'll function fine. You basically pump it through a forest main. It's clear water that you're pumping, so it's like gray water, we'll call it, not clear water, gray water. And they're in an easement. I've designed thousands of these things,
Okay,
so.
it doesn't matter the distance?
No, no. We pump sewage, just pump miles.
Okay.
Be like a city sewage system. It's all
Small.
PVC pipe, but it's much
Yeah,
smaller.
the only other thing that I thought is just when I'm looking at the plan with lot 6 and how close the house sits to the water, like I just don't know if over time that would be any concern, like if it would fall into the water at some point. I don't know, it just seems like it's like,
Lot 6 is actually along the furthest from the water. It's,
what? Wait, what is this? This looks like water.
oh, so no, this is not water. So the water is down here, okay?
Make it blue.
I'll have to go to the beach with you now.
That's a-
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's a big,
That cleared it up for me.
that's a big hole.
Yes,
Water's
it's a
down.
hole. Okay, well, the hole is if that's nobody else's concern, then it's not mine either, so.
Okay, on the motion, proposed by Mr. Doucette. Any further discussion? Motion's been made and seconded. We'll go around. I'll start with Corinne.
Well, okay, I'm a little conflicted, but I will vote to approve the preliminary. Can I just have a caveat? That
Yes.
we're not bound to the definitive.
Fully understood.
Yes.
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 Yes, with the caveat.
Yes.
Yes.
And the next time, the water will be painted blue.
Oh my God, leave me alone. It looks like a pond, okay?
It does
Like,
look
leave
like
me
a
alone.
pond.
It's okay.
If you can get to the
Good luck, guys.
ZBA.
Thank you. Hope to be back with a definitive that shows the
Do we have a continuance date, or are they gonna have to come back to us if they go to the ZBA?
I think it will come back for.
They have to come back anyway,
Okay, for the definitive, so that's it, okay. All right,
but no board is bound to the other board.
next on the agenda is an application for a waiver of site plan review number 07-2025W and special permit 07-2025 SP, 30 Barlow's Landing Road, map 39, parcel 164. The applicant is requester a change of use from the former bank to a professional business office with retail in a B4 district and water resource district.
Good evening, members of the planning board. My name is Alex Rodalakis. I'm an attorney with Fletcher Tilton. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I have with me here Karen and Trevor Davis, who are the owners of New England Home and Glass, who are also available to answer any questions. Thank you for warming up the room for me a few moments ago. That was helpful.
Your turn's coming.
So this property, as you know, is at 30 Barlow's Landing. It's at the corner of that road going down to Commerce Park. It's been, I guess this is 3 generations of a bank now. I looked it up. It was Sandwich Co-op, then became Compass Bank, then became Santander. I'm guessing it's been shut, probably COVID and after. It's empty. My clients have an existing business in Mashpee. They have this under contract with Santander. They want to move their location to this place. They need permission from this board, site plan, and also a special permit. Kind of shocking, the zoning here doesn't allow, basically, the bank doesn't even have, it's a pre-existing non-conforming, I think, to the use. My clients are going to use this principally, once hopefully we can close, get this permission, use it mostly as office. They're in the glass business. They don't make the glass there. They don't smash the glass there. My understanding is if glass smashes there, that's a bad thing. That's product. The product gets delivered there, finished. And then it gets put on trucks, their trucks, and brought to the homes or another job site to get installed. There's a talk, they want to have a small showroom, but again, this is not a retail operation. You don't go in there to buy a shower and walk out with the shower. You're going to go in there and they're going to have you, show you what, eventually, what they can make a shower to look like, to see display area. Again, so the retail component is not showing up like at a Home Depot or another store and purchasing items from them directly. That's not their business. Their business is in shower and other glass installation. They have 8 employees, 2 of whom are here today. Most of the employees here, 1 to 4 during the day, Monday through Friday. They don't operate on the weekends right now, other than maybe they go in there, like many of us, and work on the weekend to do some paperwork. But that's going to be mostly them. Most of the work, again, is on the trucks. The trucks, the crews, the guys come in the morning, get in the trucks, 7 a.m. By 8 or 9, they're on the road. They come back at 5. Maybe they come back some other time to get additional material. But again, your traffic count is going down from a bank use. There's a drive-through that they have no interest in. They're not going to take it down. The site plan waiver part, they're not doing anything to the site. No changes to the structure externally. Internally, it's a bank branch. They want to fix that part up. They know they may have to get a building permit for that, but for the purposes of here tonight, site plan waiver, no change to anybody. It's a corner lot, Commerce Road. It's an industrial, I call it, business road exclusively. Across the street is, again, business purposes. I think there's a residential neighborhood behind it. It's a 1.7 acre lot. If you look at the plot plan that we got, it's basically sited in the middle of that lot. So kind of a large parking area, which they don't envision needing, but it's there. So no changes on the site plan. So I think they qualify for a site plan waiver from you all. They're not changing anything, not changing the flow. They're gonna eliminate the drive-through. Those are all improvements. The real thing we need from you all, in addition to that, is the change of use from the bank use to the use that they want, which is gonna be office. Bank doesn't constitute an office, apparently. Change it to an office use. They want the ability, again, to have a showroom, so they're gonna have individuals. Right now, it's planned on an appointment basis, because again, it's not a drive-up, walk-out, it's not your Home Depot, it's not that kind of business. But eventually, they would like people to come in when they fix it up, look at the display area, and that's why we need that kind of change. Again, they're not making glass there, they're not doing any of the bad things that you worry about, smells, sounds, additional traffic. So I think it's just repurposing a use that's been dark for a while. We're bringing a business into Bourne. They're in Mashpee right now. They have 8 employees. They hope to grow. They hope this helps them grow. You know, we had some questions. I appreciate all the work that your planning board, Sean, did on our issues. No waste. They're not generating waste. Again, they're not keeping hazardous chemicals on the property, so they fit within your wastewater, because this is in the Water Resources District. So there's no hazardous waste storage. There's no generation of waste, other than your common business office trash stuff. And there's no on-site disposal of waste. So I think they hit everything you all may want to get a business in town. They're here, people run the business, they can answer questions too, if you have any particular questions.
Okay. All right, any comments from the board? Who had this, Catherine,
I
right?
did, yes.
Did
Just
you
a
have
real
anything?
quick- I did actually, yes.
Is this a water resource district or not?
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
a water resource, oh, okay, I thought.
That's why, that's the hazardous waste issue, which is the town.
Oh, okay.
Sean pointed out, but again, they don't store hazardous waste there, they're not producing hazardous waste, not disposing.
Okay, Catherine, you wanna?
Mr. Chairman, can I make just a point?
Yep.
Looking at the plan and the site, been by it many times, and I've known all 3 of the banks that have been through there. And I know you don't have to do, I know you're looking for the waiver and the change of use, and I support the business. I'm just trying to think if there's a place to do like a planting or a landscape plant on the corner along Commerce Park Road, just to freshen that up, because if you look down Commerce Park, they have been making improvements over the years along Commerce Park Road, so I'm just thinking.
We have, the planning board has required them to make.
So, from the, you know, to get the waiver from the site plan special permit, and I fully support it, but I'm just looking for a planting, just basically from where the existing sign is on the corner, just to get a plan to, just to dress it up. I mean, it doesn't have to be done today, but just to dress up that corner.
Those are things that, again, you've got a bank that's basically been done with this branch for some period of time,
Right.
and has let it go. They're in the business. How else do you advertise your business? By making the property look good? You say,
Right.
that's a place I want to go by,
Right.
or call, have my work.
Exactly. So that's one of the things I'd like to, would just like to see, you know, just to have a landscape plan, whether, you know, we give some kind of approval tonight, whatever, but maybe condition it somehow, whether it's occupancy permit or whatever it is. But, you know, just so we have a plan so that we can go with it. That's just one of the concerns that I
I
have.
think they're more than receptive to talk. I do have, with respect, we do have a timing issue with closing, because this is a contingency on our ability to close.
Yep.
The bank has worked with us to a point, but this is obviously, we're at an extension right now.
My intent is not to extend it, but just maybe condition it, that's all.
That's fine.
Maybe the town planner can make a suggestion as to an approach, rather than you do an iteration of design and say, well, if you look down the road, there's a sort of a template being established, and maybe seek some guidance from the town planner.
No, I think my folks are more than receptive to being good, you know, citizens of the town, and having the business grow in the town.
We appreciate that, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so maybe
Catherine,
motion?
go ahead.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed this project, and the applicant, New England Home and Glass Incorporated, proposes a change of use from a vacant commercial building, former Santander Bank, to a commercial office, retail showroom, and storage at 30 Barlow's Landing Road, map 39, parcel 164. The project is located in a B4 district and is allowed use under section 2220. Mr. Chairman, based on the Planning Board's review of the exhibits, testimony of the applicant, expert witnesses, and the record of the proceedings, the Planning Board has found that the project is consistent with the Town of Bourne's zoning bylaw, section 1235, waiver of site plan review, 1331, special permit criteria, and 4700 Water Resource District. Special permit number 072025SP meets the criteria for a special permit of the following. Pedestrian and vehicular flow and safety has been met. The utilities and other public services are adequate. There are no impact areas to the natural environment. No site changes proposed. Impact upon nearby developed premises is minimized, and commercial abutters may experience minor impacts as the business will be located within the existing structure. Existing visual impacts will remain the same. The project is consistent with the Water Resource District, and it will not have an adverse effect which overbalance its beneficial effects. What a nice line. There is no impact upon the town's needs for year-round housing. Therefore, I move to approve the site plan special permit number 072025SP in accordance with the following findings, terms, and conditions. Findings. The parcel consists of a 1.7 acres in a B4 district. The project is located within a water resource district. There is an existing 25-29 structure on the property, which the applicant proposes to repurpose as office space, retail space, and storage area. Waiver. Waiver per 1235 waiver of site plan review with the following conditions. The site plan is subject to all rules, regulations, and bylaws of the Town of Bourne. Per the zoning bylaw, section 3530, the applicant must provide a paved dumpster area with screening. Prior to the building permit, the applicant shall provide floor plans to the planning department for approval. The drive-through is not to be used. Defer to the health department for confirmation of sufficient sewerage system. Defer to the fire department for adequacy of emergency access. Defer to the appropriate water district for sufficient water capacity. The prohibitions of the water department resource district under section 4700 must be included in all leases and will be visibly posted. The decision shall be recorded at the Barnstable Registry of Deeds, Land Court Registry, and a copy returned to the Planning Board prior to the issuance of a building permit. Did I say planning department? Thank you. And then number 10 was the
A landscape plan approved by the
a landscape plan approved by,
planning department.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we have a second.
And a planning board representative.
Yeah, and a planning board representative.
Yes.
One of the questions, you talked about the water districts and the restrictions. It's posted in a public area, correct?
Correct.
It has to be in a public area in the building.
That's okay, let me see.
No, it doesn't say that specifically.
Oh,
but yeah.
okay.
In a public area.
Okay.
That's all.
Visibly posted in a public area.
Okay, okay.
Visible to anybody that enters the building. They can't have hand grenades. and
Second.
stuff in there. Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none. Oh, Corinne, of course.
Getting back in the groove of things, no, just clarity. The special permit is just for the use, correct? And the
for the
site
use.
plan is waived. That's what we're doing, okay. I
Correct.
just want to make sure.
Okay. So on the vote, Corinne?
Oh, yes.
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 Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to Bourne, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you very
Excited.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the app is application site plan review special permit 05-2025, 50 Portside Drive, map 39, parcel 168. The applicant is to construct a second and third warehouse building on an existing commercial parcel in the Business B4 District, Water Resource District, and Zone 2 Water Recharge Area. You want to do both of them at the same time?
I mean, I'll go through each of them, that's what I'm ready for, but a lot of the stuff I won't repeat for the second.
Okay.
If you don't mind. For the record, Don Bracken, Bracken Engineering. With me tonight is Brian Murphy, the owner and the applicant for the project. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this area, Commerce Park Road, Industrial Park off of Bacata Boulevard. This site at 50 Portside was purchased in 2022 by Mr. Murphy, along with several other properties in the neighborhood. Since then, if you've been through there, you can see there have been a lot of improvements with landscaping, repaving, and so forth. This particular site is in pretty good shape. This site is at the corner of Portside and Commerce Park Road. I don't know if you can see that, but all right.
Yep.
You probably recognize the site. There's a big cell phone tower up there in the northwest corner of the property. The existing building here is shown in white, and then north of that building is the existing parking area. That provides most of the parking for the office use in the building. The existing building itself is a combination of office space and warehouse space. It's about 57% office and 43% warehouse. On the south side of the building, in this area right here, existing loading docks that actually go into the building. If you look at the site plan, you can see the extent of that. There's a few outbuildings that are just like utility sheds or storage buildings. So south of the existing building, this entire area is one large parking lot. The original building was built, actually the subdivision was created in 1970. The original building was built in about 1974. The latest application for the site was in 1996 when the town approved an addition off of the back of it. Right now, if you look at the site, there's very few vehicles that park on this side. It's mainly used, for maneuvering, for access to the loading docks and so forth. The proposal is to construct two separate, strictly warehouse-style buildings, broken up into units. This front building is 7,000 square feet. The back building is 2,800 square feet. Mostly used for rental, contractors or storage and that sort of use. It's set up so that the parking is going to be in the front, and there's also going to be parking with door accesses to the units in the front as well, along with some loading areas in the front. The existing pavement along the road is about 6 to 8 feet off the right-of-way line. We're pulling that back, so it's 20 feet off. We did prepare a landscaping plan for that area and comply with the number of trees and shrubs and so forth. That plan was actually done by Ed Fuller, who's a registered landscape architect that we do a lot of work with. The drainage on the site is pretty much going to stay intact in this area, but in this back parking area and the building drainage, we're going to put in a new drainage system consisting of a sealed rain garden going into infiltration leaching pits from there, in compliance with the Stormwater Management Act. So see that as a big improvement, getting rid of all this paving that's in this area and properly treating it and recharging it to the groundwater. It's in the B4 district and also is in the Bourne Water Resource District. Because it's in the Bourne Water Recharge District, there are limitations on sewage flows for the entire site. As you can imagine, it's a fairly low flow for the proposed use and for the existing use. We went through a lot of work breaking down all those uses to make sure that it was in compliance and will still be in compliance, which we will be with that. The new buildings will generate about 180 gallons per day total, added to the existing 918 gallons per day. Kind of put that in perspective, a 4-bedroom house is 440 gallons per day. So you can see there's very little sewage flow added. going to be a very small water demand also for the proposed uses. As part of the application, we did do a full nitrogen loading analysis, including these numbers from the sewage calculations, impervious areas, buildings, and parking, and so forth. And that that result was 6.7 parts per million. If you're not familiar with that, the drinking water standard is 10 parts per million under Title V, so we're still far enough below that. So we feel that even though with the additional flow and the low flow that's there, and the way we're handling the new runoff and treating it in compliance, that we meet the requirements of the overlay district. So to sum it up, we're looking for site plan approval, looking for a special permit for multiple buildings on a lot, and we're also looking for greater than 40% impervious coverage in the overlay district. Right now, it's 67.8%, and we're reducing it down to 66.1%. So there is a benefit there, along with treating the impervious coverage that's there. So, we're able to do that by reducing some of the pavement areas in this area, mainly in front of the building. To the rear of the project, there are residential uses there, but you can see from this aerial, it's pretty thickly wooded between this property and that property. We're not proposing any changes in that area, so the woods that are there will stay there. And again, it's a light use. We wouldn't expect any impacts on that neighborhood. And you can see from the surrounding neighborhoods what the uses look like. Mostly warehouse, mostly fully developed. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Doucette?
Similar to the other Bartles Landing Road, the previous project before us. I was wondering, your landscaping plan for your new buildings along Commerce Park Road, I love it. Is there any way, considering it's one parcel, the overall piece is one parcel, any way to bring some I'm not saying to do it all like this, but to bring some landscaping up to the existing building, to the corner, to make the line of sight down Commerce? We're trying to make the industrial park
Not look like an
not really look like it, but to make it an attractive place to work, so that's one of the things. And again, if you're willing to work with the town planning department and a member of the planning board, just something similar. It doesn't have to be as intense, but just to try to brighten up that corner.
Sure. You'll have to
You have to
step
come
up
up to the
and introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Murphy. I do represent the ownership of the 6 buildings that we purchased, actually 7 from the Maderos is about 2.5 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, we're really happy to be in Bourne. We're South Shore family-owned business.
Nice.
Office industrial is really our bread and butter, so this is a nice foray into the area. Last 2.5 years, we've put about $2.5 million into the properties to improve them, spending most of the time on facades and interiors, but we've also dropped some wells, approved wells for irrigation to address, to try to get, grass to, be greener. And I think as part of our longer-term plan, and if you've seen some of our other industrial parks, which you probably haven't, but, in the South Shore, it's Unicorn Realty, you'll see we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort and money on our landscaping. So the longer-term plan is to actually do the landscaping, and I'm more than happy to provide a landscape plan as part of this application. But I can tell you that, the better the place looks, the better the rents, higher the tax base. All of those things are a.
And my intent is to possibly put a condition on it, depending on how the board feels, put a condition on it, not to continue anything.
Yeah.
So I don't want to slow the process down, but it just a thought that I had.
If you look across the street at Wenzel, we're kind of jealous at this point. We want, he's got a nice landscape place, and we that's.
But to make it similar, that's all I'm looking at.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think Mr. Doucette is not asking for a gold plate job. If you look at, on your landscape plan, the existing shade trees there, if you have your landscape architect look at what's out there and just add a few of those to reinforce that line at the street.
Absolutely.
And it's a template that we'd like to carry down
Absolutely.
Park
yeah.
Road.
Yeah, yeah. We have a property in Pembroke, it's called Corbett Park, and it's its own drive. It's about 1,000 feet long, and it's lined with pear trees, you know, and I get, you know, like, let's make that look, you know, put that look kind of in there where you have shade trees and things of that nature that make it look nice. Is that kind of what you're referring to?
I think so, just,
Yeah.
and again, town planner can provide some guidance, but I think the idea of strong shade trees as established down towards the corner of Portside Drive, maybe you add 1 or 2, 3 along that line, same species, just try to strengthen that edge a little bit. When you look down,
Yeah.
it's not a boulevard,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it'll help.
Yeah. We've had our hands full, I gotta tell you, just, you know, turning this around, and we're getting there, and it is definitely part of our goal to make it.
And I do like the south corner that you're working on, the new proposed project. I like that. I just thought I'd try to freshen up that northern corner, that's all.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Doc?
And then one more comment, and I'm snake bit on this. Take a drive by the Dunkin' Donuts on MacArthur Boulevard. See those lights? We don't want them like that.
Okay,
We
I'll have to look.
we approved those lights, and they had a 90-degree and a cutoff, and they installed them like this.
Yeah, okay. I
No,
get it.
wall
And so-
packs are no longer, don't want to ever see those again. They're awful.
Got wall packs here, don't we? So they have a glare guard.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And just be sure that the contractor installs the glare guard to match your sort of isolumens here. Just, we're really sensitive to that stuff. We've been burned a couple of times in the last year.
Okay, got it.
And we will talk about you at the next meeting if you don't.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else from the board?
I have a couple questions. May I ask you to explain the drainage system again that you did in the very beginning? You talked about,
Yeah, sure. So, because these are metal roofs, they have to go through a vegetated system before it can go directly into the ground. And so we're picking up these roofs, the paving in between the building and some pavement back here. It goes into a small, like, sediment forebay where any grit, solid settle out. And then from there, it goes into what we call a rain garden. It's probably like 2 or 3 feet deep and has an impervious liner underneath it. But it has, I think in this case, like 2 feet of soil. And then the water goes into it, it filters through the soil that has plants that are able to take up the periodic wetness of the rainfall going in there, and also take up, you know, some of the pollutants that are in the water. In the ground, it filters to the bottom, it hits an impervious liner, and on top of the liner is a pipe, a perforated pipe, that then channels it to leaching pits that go underground. So the idea is before it goes into the leaching pits and gets into the ground, it goes through this big vegetated soil filter.
Okay.
Welcome.
so
And it's blue inside, just, the water's blue.
I'm never gonna live it down, am I?
So, what type of properties,
I'm writing out, okay, they said rental for construction, but what type of,
Brian could probably answer that better than me.
What happened?
Space to store their goods, whether it's, I don't know, we've had somebody who builds shower enclosures, you know, outdoor shower enclosures, you know, so it's a, you know, bring in their sewers and like do a little bit of assembly or, you know, storage
Okay.
that goes out. That kind of business seems to be what really drives the use around here. Some distribution. We got Red Bull, you know, the energy drink, you know, and they took a whole building.
Yeah, he's gonna talk to you.
oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're having a great conversation, which is okay.
But no one else will ever hear it.
Yeah, so I was just saying, just a lot of service.
Okay, so not, I guess I'm thinking of, you know, chemicals, contractors with chemicals and all of that. but
No,
that's
you
more
just, you
you're
don't
looking
get,
at
you don't
yours
get
or-
much in the way of manufacturing down here, like as in
Right.
big manufacturing. Most of the way these buildings are structured, they're smaller bays and, it's, yeah. So, a lot of marine use, buoy companies, people doing technology that, they're mounting GPS to buoys is all pretty cool. But yeah, that's the kind of businesses. What I anticipate, maybe in the future, you're going to see some contractors who are going to come from the bridge work in the future. This is going to be perfect for them. So that's kind of
Smart move, actually, that's good, yeah.
Thought about that, but yeah.
need the space.
Yeah, that's good.
Someday.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the board? I was just gonna say a couple of things that Dan reiterated what he said. I like the 2 new buildings. That's gonna reduce the impervious surface there. I can tell you from when Electric first was in there, that was always a flooding area. And it flooded out into Commerce Park Road until the town fixed that through a grant. The only thing I'm always cautious about with small contractor bays like that is they end up piling up some of their stuff outside, and that is not something we want to really see. So I don't know if you can work that into your lease or not, but I know you've got a couple of dumpsters out back. You realize those have to be screened and all that. Anybody else? Okay, Amanda, you had
Okay.
this project?
Yeah, this is pretty airtight, so I looked out here. Aside from like the landscaping that I could echo on what Dan said, the water resource compliance was also a concern, but it looks like that's all set too, so my work is done. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I have reviewed this project, and the applicant, Portside Drive LLC, care of Brian P. Murphy, proposes to maintain all existing structures on site and construct 2 new buildings within existing paved areas. The property is located at 50 Portside Drive, map 39.0, parcel 168. The project is determined to be an allowed use within the B4 zoning district under section 2220 land use classification. Mr. Chairman, based on the planning board's review of the exhibits, testimony of the applicant, experts, witnesses, and the record of the proceedings, the planning board has found that the project is consistent with the town of Bourne zoning bylaw, section 1230, site plan special permit, section 1331, special permit criteria, 2440, 2 or more principal buildings, and 4700 water resource district. Special permit 5/2025 meets the criteria for a special permit of the following. A, pedestrian vehicular flow and safety must have been met. B, the utilities and other public services are adequate. Defer to Bourne Water Department for water adequacy. C, there are no impacted areas to the natural environment. D, impact upon nearby developed premises is minimized and commercial abutters may experience minor impacts such as noise during construction. E, the proposed building is visually compatibility with this. The proposed building is visually compatible with the surroundings. The project is consistent with the water resource district, and it will not have an adverse effect which overbalance its beneficial effects. G, there is no impact upon the town's needs for year-round housing. Per the Water Resource District sections, sorry, my mouth is dry. Per the Water Resource District sections 4722 A and B, a decrease in impervious surface to 66.1% and no removal of natural ground cover vegetation will not have an adverse effect which overbalances its beneficial effects. Therefore, I move to approve site plan special permit 5/2025 in accordance with the following findings, terms, and conditions. Findings. 1. The applicant proposes to maintain all existing structures on site and construct 2 new buildings within existing paved areas. 2. The proposed project consists of the construction of a 7,000 square foot warehouse and a 2,800 square foot warehouse building at 50 Portside Drive. The parcel is a 154,215 square foot lot located in the B4 zoning district, Zone 2 Wellhead Protection Area, and Water Resource District. Conditions. 1. This plan is subject to all rules, regulations, and bylaws of the town of Bourne. 2. Coordinating with public safety officials as to the numbering and/or lettering of the buildings to assist with 911 emergencies. 3. Defer to the health department for confirmation of sufficient sewerage system. 4. Emergency fire vehicle access must conform to the requirements of Chapter 18 in the Massachusetts Comprehensive Fire Code 527 CMR. We will need a copy of a fire apparatus road plan, which includes an analysis and evaluation of fire apparatus maneuvers throughout the access roads created by sweat path analysis and turn simulation software. The plan shall bear the seal and signature of the responsible registered design professional. The plan must accommodate the department ladder truck. 5. The last one, commercial Knox box, will be required for each building that is large enough to hold all keys for the property. Based on size and layout, a second box may be required. 6. Emergency responder communications coverage is required under the building code for all new buildings. We recommend planning for this system to be required. However, signal strength testing should take place once the building is substantially complete to confirm the need for the system. 7. Defer to the appropriate water district for sufficient water capacity. 8. All new leases require approval by Bourne Water Superintendent, and written approval shall be provided to the Planning Department. 9. The prohibitions of the Water Resource District under Section 4700 must be included in all leases and be visibly posted in an area for each leasable unit. 10. Prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit, an as-built plan must be submitted to the Planning Board showing all appurtenances above and below ground. Why are we throwing all these crazy words in here? 11. 11. Jeez.
That was a tough one.
That was just
I
say
have the
stuff.
same problem with that word.
11. This decision shall be recorded at the
not an
Barnstable
easy
County Registry of Deeds, Land Court Registry, and a copy returned to the Planning Department prior to the issuance of a building permit.
And
In a landscape plan.
Landscape
showing-
plan to show the
I'm
planning
sorry.
board. Okay, landscape plan to present
Yep.
to planning
Department.
department.
To be approved by
Be
a planning
approved.
board member
Yep.
and planning.
so it'll be one planning board member and staff, they can look at it, make sure if it's adequacy. You good with that, Don?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You
All right, anything else?
Second?
I think that's it.
Motion made and seconded. On the motion,
Number 10, is that supposed to be planning board or planning department? On number 10,
Should be
the
planning.
as-built.
should be planning department, not planning board.
Yeah.
I said I haven't.
You want to make a
seen
friendly,
this as-built.
you want to make a friendly change to your motion? To accept that, and I'll do the same thing on that second, so we can.
I'll accept
All right.
that. Yes.
Second,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah? Is that right? Okay, good. Okay. Yes?
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
anybody else? No? Okay, we're gonna have roll call vote. Amanda?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. You didn't ask the public comment, but yes.
Oh,
There is no.
Wise guy.
like,
somebody
sneak in here.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Okay, on
Thank
to the
you.
next one.
Yay.
Oh, I thought that was the last one.
No.
So the
We have a
next,
whole nother, I have another Bible to read.
okay, so the next agenda item is site plan special permit 062-2025, 53 Portside Drive, map 39, parcel 160. The applicant is to construct a second building or warehouse on an existing commercial parcel in the business B4 district, water resource district, and zone 2 well water recharge area, requesting a reduction in the required parking spaces under zoning bylaw section 3300.
Again,
Don, go ahead.
Don Bracken Engineering, with Brian Murphy, the owner. Very similar to the last project. This is actually diagonally across the street from that project. Only this project has industrial uses all around it and no residential uses abutting it. It's a slightly larger lot. It's about 5 acres. The existing building, similar to the other one, is a mix between warehouse and office space, 46% office, 54% warehouse. Currently, as you can see, the parking area, there are 2 parking areas, one on the north, one on the south side. South side is probably used mostly for the office space. What we're proposing is the construction of one single 10,000 square foot building, broken up into 8 units total. What you can't see on this plan, but on the plan set, is this is actually an existing paved parking area right now. You can see by the tree line that was approved, probably the last site plan approved was 1988. Over the years, there's been a lot of material dumped in this area. The grades are very erratic. It kind of looks like a mess. The Murphys have been working on that as well over the last couple of years since they owned it, to try to clean it up. There's also an existing garage on the site that, as part of this application, we want to convert to warehouse. Very similar to the last building, very similar setup. The only difference is on the southeast corner of the building, we're proposing 2 loading docks, smaller loading docks, more for like box trucks, not tractor trailers, just so that we have that option for that. The other thing is the existing roof runoff for the entire building actually came out here into a pit and then dumped in and went overground. We're going to put in a new system for the roof runoff. We don't have to pre-treat it because it's not a metal roof, it's a rubber roof, which is good. But the rest of the proposed drainage for all the new pavement in the new metal roof building will be treated the same way as the last one. This one requires a larger system than the last one, which is located down in this area. So basically recharging and infiltrating all the runoff generated from the project and improving the existing roof runoff system. Again, the landscape plan, very little to landscape here because the building is so far back from the road. I'm sure Mr. Murphy would agree to provide some additional landscape along the streetscape like we did on the last project. Very similar sewer flows, very low for what we're proposing. We're only adding another 300 gallons per day. The nitrogen loading calculations is 8.4, less than 10 as I had mentioned previously. What we do need is further relief from the percentage of impervious area in the district. Maximum impervious is 40% under the bylaw. Currently, there's 50.6%. We're asking to increase that to 54.6%. It's about a 4% increase in that. Everything else dimensionally complies with the zone. That I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Quick comment on that is, even though it's an increase in impervious surface, you are actually treating all the water off of the buildings and stuff, and that's a positive.
Yeah.
So that's a plus for everybody. So thank you on that. Mr. Doucette?
Keep it brief. Like if he agrees with the streetscape, so I keep it short and sweet.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, we'll do the same
I think
thing.
just
Yep.
for the same reasons. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the board? No? Amanda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed this project and the applicant, Commerce Road LLC, care of Brian P. Murphy, proposes construction of a 10,000 square foot warehouse and conversion of a 2,399 square foot garage to a warehouse building at 53 Portside Drive. The project is located in a B4 district, and it is an allowed use under section 2220. Mr. Chairman, based on the planning board's review of the exhibits, testimony of the applicant, experts, witnesses, and the record of the proceedings, the planning board has found that the project is consistent with the town of Bourne zoning bylaw 1230 site plan review, 1331 special permit criteria, 2442 or more principal buildings, and 4700 water resource district. Special permit 6/2025 meets the criteria for a special permit of the following. A, pedestrian, vehicular flow, and safety has been met. I think it's hilarious that I'm reading this again. B, the utilities and other public services are adequate. Defer to the Bourne Water District for adequacy of water. C, impacted areas to the natural environment will be revegetated. A landscaping plan has been submitted. D, impact upon nearby developed premises and minimized in commercial abutters may experience minor impacts such as noise during construction. E, the proposed building is visually compatible with the surroundings. F, the project is consistent with the Water Resource District and it will not have an adverse effect which overbalances its beneficial effects. I need to edit this. Hold on. There is no impact upon the town's needs for year-round housing. That was G. Per the Water Resource District Sections 4722A and B, an increase in impervious surface to 54.6% will not have an adverse effect which overbalances its beneficial effects. Therefore, I move to approve site plan special permit 6/2025 in accordance with the following findings, terms, and conditions. Findings: 1. The applicant proposes to maintain the main existing structure on site, convert existing garage into warehouse space, and construct one new warehouse building. 2. The proposed project consists of the construction of a 10,000 square foot warehouse and conversion of a 2,399 square foot garage to a warehouse building at 53 Portside Drive. The parcel is a 217,150 square foot lot located in the B4 zoning district, Zone 2 Wellhead Protection Area and Water Resource District. Conditions: 1. This plan is subject to all rules, regulations, and bylaws of the town of Bourne. 2. Coordinating with public safety officials as to the numbering and/or lettering of the buildings to assist with 911 emergencies. 3. Defer to the health department for confirmation of sufficient sewerage system. 4. Emergency fire vehicle access must conform to the requirements of Chapter 18 in the Massachusetts Comprehensive Fire Code 527 CMR. We will need a copy of a fire apparatus road plan, which includes an analysis and evaluation of fire apparatus maneuvers throughout the access roads created by swept path analysis and turn simulation software. The plan shall bear the seal and signature of the responsible registered design professional. The plan must accommodate the department ladder truck. 5. A sprinkler system is required under the State Building Code and Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 148, Section 26G, for all buildings over 7,500 gross square feet in floor area. 6. At least one commercial Knox box will be required that is large enough to hold all keys for the property. Based on size and layout, a second box may be required. 7. Emergency responder communications coverage is required under the building code for all new buildings. We recommend planning for the system to be required. However, signal strength testing should take place on the building. Signal strength testing should take place on the building. The building is substantially. What is this English?
When
the building.
When the building, okay, when the building is substantially complete to confirm the need for the system. 8, defer to the appropriate water district for sufficient water capacity. 9, all new leases require approval by Bourne Water Superintendent, and written approval shall be provided by the Planning Department. 10, the prohibitions of the Water Resource District under Section 4700 must be included in all leases and be visibly posted in an area for each leasable unit. 11, prior to the issuance of occupancy permit, an as-built plan must be submitted to the planning board showing all appurtenances above and below ground. 12, this decision shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, Land Court Registry, and a copy returned to the planning department prior to the issuance of a building permit. And I also added 13, subject to planting plan, satisfactory to planning staff, because that was my feeling.
Right. Thank you for that.
Second.
And motion made and second. On that motion, any comments? Concerns? No?
Just again, on 11, from board to department.
Yes.
I thought that's what she said.
Oh, did she?
Okay.
I was just so focused.
It's a special permit, so we're gonna have to do a roll call vote, so I'll start with Corinne.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Doucette? Mr.
Yes.
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 Thank you for
Thanks.
investing.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Thank
We look
you.
forward. Thanks for coming to the town of Bourne.
Yeah.
There's nothing else on the agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
We are adjourned.